Hi, it's Cindy, and this is the last day of our 5-day challenge. What we're going to talk about today is around the topic of the pressure to parent perfectly. This is a really big issue when it comes to mother stress, the mommy burnout epidemic, and it's something that I find the more I look into, people are really starting to recognize just the toll it's taking on mothers on an emotional and mental level. So the more digging I did, the more I would find that there's different universities that are now running studies on this. There are different journals that are publishing studies on how the pressure to do things so perfectly is causing people to really feel down and out on themselves. So as a recovering perfectionist myself, I really know how stressful it can feel when you don't feel like you are good enough or you don't feel like you're doing a well enough job. What happens is there's a sense of undeservingness. There's a sense of, well, I'm not doing it so well that maybe I don't deserve this. And so what I want to share with you today is a process that I've created called my self-empathy remedy. Now, we all know how to show empathy to others. If you had a really, really dear friend who you loved and she was really struggling to keep it together, feeling really down on herself, and was just feeling alone but turned to you, what would you say? I'm going to guess you might say something like, I understand where you're coming from. You're not alone. Or it really sounds like you're in a dark place or in a rough spot. Tell me more about it and let me help you. Something like that is probably what you would say. So now my self-empathy remedy is teaching you how to now turn that empathy inward so that you can now get the benefits of what empathy does. Empathy is one of those things that I feel like is such a gift. It's not only a gift that we can give another person to feel supported and loved and understood, but it's a gift we can give ourselves so that we can feel those things too. So the 3 steps that I have are empathize, embrace, and then empower. And why those 3 steps I'm going to explain to you and how you can start to implement that today to release emotional stress around feeling like a failure or you're not good enough or the inadequacy that can build up in the day when things just don't seem to be going your way. Or it can be something that is stemming very deep down from, let's say, childhood or experiences that have happened in your past. And for example, for me, when I look back, even as a young girl, I always had this need to do things perfectly, to present myself perfectly, to have this idea that perfect meant better. And back then I wasn't so sure about where this is coming from, but now I realize that really what it was stemming from was my fear of judgment. And back then I grew up as a very clear minority in a small city, and I was never ever 100% comfortable in my own skin. I felt I didn't look like anyone else. I didn't do things the same as anyone else, so that must have made me weird. And I needed to make sure I was well put together all the time and doing things really well so that I would be more accepted. Now that I'm older and I'm a recovering perfectionist, I've learned how much empathy, when turned towards myself, has healed so many of those self-limiting feelings. Okay, and so I want to share this with you because it's our last day of the challenge, and I want you to have a tool that you can not only use today, but it's so valuable as you move forward and really work on or continue showing up for yourself, stepping up for yourself, and taking care of yourself. Okay, so the first step is empathize. So what I want you to do is when you're having a moment of really not feeling so great about yourself, you're feeling stressed, is imagine you are a really good friend. So what are the things that you would say to that friend to help them through that moment? The second thing is to embrace. Now, this is a step where you turn all of that good stuff inward. Imagine that all that love, support, and understanding is coming right back to you, and receive it and embrace it. And the third step is to be empowered, to feel empowered by this, knowing that this is okay, and having that self-compassion to now fuel this renewed confidence that in your capabilities, but also feeling empowered that your role as a parent is not to be perfect and not to parent perfectly, but your role is to have that love and that support for your child or for whoever is around you. It's to be present, to be there, and that can be really freeing, because now you no longer have that feeling of everything needs to be controlled and I need to do things really well so that everything's going to be okay. So I hope that makes sense for you. And if you need more support or you have questions or feedback about this, please reach out and you can contact me, and I am more than happy to be there for you. I have been receiving your emails during this challenge, and I've been receiving the feedback. So thank you so much. I'm listening. And what it's actually done is it's inspired me to share more about my heart behind the Calm Mama method and why I'm doing that for the mothers that I work with, but also where it stemmed from. So I'll do that on another day, maybe tomorrow. But today I really want to give you the space to practice this self-empathy remedy so that you can start to feel lighter. You can start to experience more joy in your day because you are now receiving all that support rather than giving it all away. Okay, so thank you for today, and I will be in touch soon with following up on how you're doing. But have a great day, take care of yourself, and talk soon.